is Kaliananda, and I came to Auroville first in 2008. And I've been here most of the time since then. I can say that over the years that I've been here, you know, there's like I always felt pulled from the start. When I first came, something inside of me, I felt like this is my place. I can't even really ask anyone if I can stay. I already know it's my place. That's kind of that inner attitude that I have. But with respect to others also. And I knew no one could tell me it's not my place. That's it. So inside, that was my strong feeling. And, you know, through experiences, and coming to know the community, different aspects of it, I have to say, without being a downer, because we've already seen so many beautiful things about what this place is, but certain aspects were a little disappointing to me when I discovered them. So I had kind of experiences of disillusionment, if you could say like that. Yeah. But the interesting thing is, after each such moment, then inside, I was checking with myself, and still I felt like, I want to be a part of this place. Like, I want to be a part of building this city, developing in myself, whatever I was seeing which was not in its ideal state. Like, I want to be a part of like developing together also. So like that, I've just continued.
When you came to Auroville, where did you volunteer? Let's start from there. And how did you progress, and where are you working right now?
Yeah, I feel like that I didn't take a very conventional path in. Actually, I didn't volunteer for several years because of my own personal story. It was not the thing for me to do. Rather, I was a little quiet. So, and then at one moment, I started to express in my own way in areas that I really care about and am involved in, like areas of safety, child safety, and that kind of activated me and brought me into more participation.
And if you can a little bit talk of this aspect, the theme of today, work as a means to inner discovery. What does it even mean to you? How do you observe? How do you look at work in Auroville?
Okay, my background is as a mother. So from the start of I did a lot of different jobs in my teenage years. I started working, I'm going to arrive at that. I'm going to come out at it another way. Because then in my, early adulthood, my work was as a mother. And I was doing it, full-fledged, like unschooling my children. Like, I put all my energy into, that raising up my children. So from the start, actually, for me, my experience with work was already not hinging on earning.
Right.
So I already had this concept that actually the most difficult work I've ever done, not only I wasn't paid, I'm not trying to go into a lecture about motherhood, but it wasn't paid and it cost a lot to do it. So I had to be so creative just to do my mothering and manage. So that was kind of my training and preparation for when I came to Auroville.
Right.
So already it was not connected to earning. Right. And in this unconventional start of my experience, I also didn't have a solid financial basis. So from the beginning, like, I was really taking a leap into the unknown, because I didn't come with a plan, like, this is how it'll work, this is how my life I'll manage it. I didn't have any of that. And so that's interesting, like to be, to take responsibility for oneself and kind of make a plan, but then also in this way enter and then allow something to start to unfold. And that was very much what my experience has continued to be till now. And any time that I go and try to organize, or okay, this is how much I have, this is how much I might need, like, it never works out. And I started to get the hint that I'm free to try and do my own little organizing and, budgeting or whatever, assuring, whatever I think of will assure my future. But when I kind of let go or start to do my work as an offering, come what may, even that's really radical, but really come what may. Like, things have turned out even better than I could have ever imagined. So I've gotten this really beautiful experience of, with humility. Like, when you enter the unknown, it can be kind of scary because you precisely don't have the assurances that we believe that we need to make our life work. So that's a big thing to unravel and take the experience of. But I can say that in Auroville, starting with my, then it started like that. So by the time I started to work, I wasn't even working for a maintenance. I didn't even have a maintenance until, recently.
Yeah.
I was only really by grace, things going, and so I lost the plot of how things work. But I can say that everything started to work much better than I could plan.
She was very much passionately working, perhaps because of your previous work as full-time mother. She got into this aspect of taking care of others. That was her Purna Shakti as a work, as an initiative, where when people are stuck in a very vulnerable, and sometime in Auroville, when you come to this new society, you may end up in such difficult positions, and she comes with this Kali force and she dives behind that person. She goes and helps without knowing that person. So this is something, again, like many things in Auroville, we don't necessarily start because somebody asked you to start. So this is, if a woman is in distress, if there is a mother, if there is an issue with the family, if there is a violent situation, if there is a child in a distress situation, she would selflessly, and sometimes even against powerful figures, she will go and fight. So that's how I know her. And then recently she is now an executive of also, one more caring role she has taken is that she is an executive of a guest house called Neeraja. So that's a brief what she is doing. Yes.
You can go ahead. No, no, please do. Just a follow-up question on your beautiful story. Can you hear me? Thank you, first of all, for the beautiful sneak peek into your life, and what a joyride it has been. So you mentioned that that you followed an unconventional path. Is there a conventional path for Auroville?
Yes, I mean, more or less. Now there is more structure also. So when you join, you can expect certain things reasonably you can expect. So I'm just telling you one thing that is more fringy. But for your inner attitude, it can help you, perhaps. But externally, our systems are really improving. So like even this group gives some structure, what you can expect and how to go about it.
So to quickly answer your question, the formal way is that you volunteer for 3 months.
Right.
And then you become a newcomer for 1 year, and then 1 year, 3 months after, you can become an Aurovillian. So that's the conventional way. But she took some time. Same as with me. I came here. I was not sure also. For 2 years, I volunteered many places. I thought, being an Indian, there was no visa issue as such. I could just move in. And then a newcomer process took on again 1.5, 2 years. So that's a very there are many stories like that you will find. Many students come and study here. Yeah, go ahead.
So in this, there is no, I'm looking up, so quick introduction about myself. I'm not an intern here, not a volunteer. I'm looking at opportunities here. For the same reason that you just mentioned, I just feel a pull, a belonging here, which is very hard to rationalize.
Good.
Undeniable. So what I'm trying to understand is, from my perspective, do I need do I need to secure visibility of what I'm going to do when I come here, or do I come here and start the process? Because what I'm looking at right now is coming in as being here and saying I want to create a position. So, from your perspective, because you guys have done this, is there? I mean, do you surrender to Auroville and just go with the flow? Is that how it works for everyone? Because that's how I'm looking at it. Or are people with another mindset also operating here who come with a plan and everything is laid out? This is going to happen in 6 months. This is going to happen in a year.
Okay. You got the question? So,
Yes.
going with the flow or planned way?
You start with a plan, and then if you have this suppleness, the plan can evolve, and then you're prepared to shift gears, pivot, all of that, and you're in a better inner state to do that. But you can start with a plan in as much as you can plan, especially with a family. I would definitely suggest it, and gather the information, like at the ATR office and where to volunteer. All the practical things, I suppose it's a good idea to gather all the information and make a plan. And then when you're here, you can start to, move nicely, flow.
Yeah, and like she said, be open to surprises and follow your heart in a not. I'm not saying in any in any popular way that it's not that, but you will feel it. Like if it feels right, does it feel right to be in Auroville? That's it. No, because if you can, anyone can, please help me. I couldn't, for the sake of my life, explain to my mother or my family rationally why am I here. It makes no sense, right? To explain to my friends in Delhi think I have gone cuckoo and gone somewhere, joined some ashram kind of thing. They don't have any idea. But I am in joyous space, but without having any surety to tell my kids when they grow up, they will be officially on passport illiterates. But I'm proud of it. So how do you even explain? So follow your heart, have a plan. I come from a strategic point of view, so planning is part of my training. But the more I now look back, none of my plan actually went by plan, but it's in a good way. You and then I take it, yeah.
Some of the facts which you have shared, this is looking at the ideals of what this place is. A social experiment for human beings to be united, to be humble, to be able to learn inside themselves and progress. You also said you have about 1,800 residents, and I wouldn't call it a goal, but there is a capacity to go up to
50,000, that's right.
Assuming somebody has realized, not just read and understood these ideas, and you said 3 months, but what I got to understand is 6 months of volunteering and then 1 year.
Yeah, okay.
That's what
It's new? All right, sorry.
It's not 3 months, it's 6 months and then you become a volunteer.
Okay.
Why does anyone have to go through this? Because the actual experiment or actual learning starts after you become a resident of this place.
Mm-hmm.
And you also said it is a flat organization with no hierarchies or whatever.
Right.
Somewhere I'm seeing a contradiction of it. When you
Welcome to Auroville.
and maybe a hierarchy of.
Yeah.
You say you want to have so many people from
Yeah.
across. You want people who understand these ideas, and then you stop them by putting in barriers.
Explain about the barriers. How do we stop them, is it?
I want to start from now. I will live in this room from now, for
Hmm.
example. The same. And I will practice and offer
Yeah.
everything what is required. It's not
Got
just a word or a statement to discuss. I mean what I'm saying. I can wash your toilets, I can paint your floors, I can do whatever you want. I can start now.
Okay,
Then why?
got it. You want to answer or I can?
You start.
Yeah, you can jump in. It's true. The contradiction, there are two things to it. One is Auroville as mother envisioned. I would slightly differ. It's not a social experiment. It's a spiritual endeavor. In that sense, the idea is not that we all unite in a social level. That, yeah, okay. So this is a different level altogether. Yeah. The second aspect. So that is one aspect which we come and offer ourselves, and again then that's where the ideals, the pathways of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. And then there is a practical aspect of Auroville Foundation Act since '88. Being in resident is also a legal entity in that sense. You get visa, you get you get access to certain things in Auroville. You get, even if you have to get an Aadhaar card, somebody needs to issue an Aadhaar card to say you are a resident of Auroville for these things. Now that's where this 3 months, 6 months, all this is all very temporary. Last 2 months ago it was 3 months, today it is 6 months. Tomorrow you become an Aurovillian, you can make it 12 months, or you may say that 12 days only, right? Tomorrow somebody else may come and change it. So it is supple in that sense. There is a plan, but there is suppleness to the collective also. We are right now talking about Auroville. There were somebody else before this. So since '68 somebody is talking about Auroville, and everyone, if you meet 1,800 Aurovillians, there will be 1,800 ways of being in Auroville. So does it, if you want to just offer, there is no stopping you. There are many I know who are not officially Auroville resident. It's a resident register, we call it ROR, Register of Residence. If you want to be part of that listing, you need to go through this legal procedure. To be a true Aurovillian, if you have read it, to be a willing servitor of the divine consciousness, you have the sanctity or the sanction of your own spirit. That's it. You can start working. Maybe you already started.
True that. The reason I said contradiction, or the reason I used the word value is that, as you would surely appreciate, I may have 100 things to offer in the genuine sense of it, and I'm willing to offer at no cost, but I have to live. I have to breathe. I have to read. I have to wear my clothes. I have to bathe. I have to do some basic things.
Yeah.
That's the intent or the reason why.
Yeah.
I completely respect the fact it's been for like from 1968. World around has changed.
Absolutely.
Realities have become more complicated. Well taken. But that could be a way of reason. There is a way to use it on a case-to-case basis at least. I would want to kind of discuss that after we finish this.
We can. So this is another aspect of when we, so I can hear you, brother, because I was there, and when you come from outside, there is a certain conditioning since we are born. Our society, our parents, our families create that around ourselves. To let go of those things takes an effort in itself. I'm not saying it from any pedestal at all. I'm saying in a very practical way to the things that even when the dream speaks of everything, all that you need for the collective will provide. Now, definition of need in itself is so vast and so varied person to person. Now, what I have come to understand being in Auroville is that what I considered 11, 12 years ago as a need has somehow transformed and transfigured itself and went into a basket of want or nice to have. Now, I mean, Mother speaks of this aspect of, somebody asked, some disciple asked her, very nice question, that how do I know I'm making spiritual progress, Mother? So she says, you will know by the amount of detachment that you have. So if you are detached from slowly all those aspects that we find as part of ourselves, it's a very, I mean, again, it's a very individual process. There is no cookie cutter for everyone. It's an individual, it's an inner discovery. Yes.
Agreed.
Okay. I'll go into more details, but it's good. Even I don't divide need from want. I don't make a distinction. But what can you access and what is your driver? So in a place like Auroville, where the aim is different, but still, because we're in a little scarcity, the limit of the resources available to us, then we have things, okay, maintenance, in a particular way, we have to use the resources in a and even when we have more resources, still we will organize them and use them in a particular way. But you could say we are in scarcity,
Right.
in a way.
Right.
So, but so what each individual, like, what is your idea of, I need this many clothes, I need to eat this, I need this kind of stay. That is the puzzle for each individual to solve when they're coming to settle here. And in this moment when you're bridging, how will I survive? Meanwhile, yes, that is a puzzle to solve. One hint that I've also noticed is as you take one step in one direction, things start to open up. And if you're capable to also hold a little bit, like for me, it's been an asset that I can live with very little also. But I can also like to spend, I like to eat nicely, but I also can eat little. Like I can do the range. So, because I can touch down on that, I can sleep on the floor, on the mat. I'm happy like that also, but I know how to enjoy. So even you see already like that, the inner progress starts, begins from there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, my question is kind of related. You said that you arrived in 2008?
Yes.
So you've been here for 17 years, 17, 18 years.
Yes.
And it's only recently that you received maintenance.
Yeah.
And so how have you survived for that long? Is it all been savings?
No, I didn't have savings. Really, if I start to even look back, I can't even properly explain it. It's been a series of grace movements. I'll write a book sometime about it, what forms it's taken. It's not taken one form. But I learned a trick, and that was to not be afraid. Like when I don't know, I can't anticipate how it's going to come. Don't be afraid. That's very important. And, keep my heart open. And then each day, literally each day, I check inside, what is the thing to be done today? And then do that. And somehow I never spontaneously imploded, even when for each person we have an idea of what is the minimum that you can have before you're in trouble. Like for some people, it's when you've touched your savings account. For some people, it's when they're, in the red quite a lot. It's very subjective for each person, what you consider to be your safety net.
Yeah.
And so, I've just touched down on this area where there's no safety net like that, but it made me get into a whole other flow. But which translated into showing up like this to life. And really, sometimes even I didn't have one place to live, and then suddenly I had two places where I had offered to me. Like really weird, amazing, mystical stuff starts to organize itself. Like that is next level organization.
Yeah.
But in Auroville, we are not collectively aiming to put, people through that. But that is quite an inner progress to, disconnect our life from, strategizing how will we make it work. The aim in Auroville, it's so interesting because it is a place where we start to do our work here to express ourselves. And that's wonderful. So the answer I'm not trying to be elusive, but really that's kind of been my, very peculiar experience. And I've felt that somehow that grace is always taking care. Like I cannot do without, and quite frankly, even if I do without, I'm so happy that I'm just trusting that. Yes.
Yeah, that's something I'm talking to people around here. They give a lot of trust to the universe. It will happen.
Yes, yes, and
If it doesn't, then it's for a reason.
Yes, in here, this Divine Mother City, at one moment, I didn't start out knowing Mother Sri Aurobindo when I came, and slowly over the years I started to become closer, and my inside connection started to develop. And that also was a real key for me, to enter unknown situation in her city, to surrender to her. Then she is an amazing organizer, really.
See, another, I mean, there is a lot of these grace you will hear about in Auroville, and on a very practical social experiment, I think it also works, because when I know I am part of this collective where there is an aspect of taking care of each other. It's a social security. It's a very, in that sense, it's a very tribal mindset, right? When you enter a tribe, when you know that the tribe, one for all and all for one, is the kind of system, then after a while you let go, thinking that it's like brotherhood, the comradeship, or the being like in a battalion, in an army or something. It's individually you don't know, but you collectively go and fight, right? Because you know somebody has got your back and you trust that person. So when you are in a collective, in a social experiment also, in that sense, when we see, when somebody really sees me that I am contributing to Auroville and I am dedicated and I am offering, and I don't have the resources that Mother speaks of in the dream also, that for your subsistence the collective will take care of, for your sphere of action, for example. So somehow things just organize itself. That's why there is another aspect, which quality, one of the 12 qualities of the Mother is perseverance. There is no way to even tell you that you come here, do this, then this will be organized for you. You read stories of initial 68 to 88 or 98, such hardships people lived through. Sometimes when you think, oh, I am not, as a collective, I am not given this resources to do the work, then you look at the people who have or read their stories and like, these guys have had nothing. At least I have nice shades and places to walk in Auroville. Such beauty have created. Before it was flat. And then you reach Sri Aurobindo. When he came to Pondicherry, along with his few handful of disciples, he lived on almost nothing. These fellows did not even have a individual towels. They had their own towel, one towel to sharing between those 6-7 disciples. And Sri Aurobindo lived in a room for 26 years. Like, if he did not need such opulence to create such great work, just see Savitri, somebody doing that, some sort of a effort it would have taken. Forget about all the esoteric aspects. So there is no correlation between, as for a human being, the output versus input. So this is again, can work for, since our industrial this revolution, we have made the humans as a cog. We are a utility. We are a work. Our worth, our value is what we can come to the collective. What can you do? So from there, if you can see that, okay, work is one aspect, but it is not also work. It is, if you come here for inner discovery, truly, that would be again transactional. I can do this, as a collective, what you can do for me. Right? I am doing all such great things. What is the collective doing for me? No, it's not transactional. It is not rational. So you, like she said, and it's same as, like for example, this session itself, nobody told us to do this. We saw with the visitor center team, every day people come and go. They just come to the shops and go see the Matri Mandir and leave. We thought, Isabella and Saravanan and few others, we thought, why not have a session? People come with curiosity, they should be talking to Aurovillians. So they are holding a session every day. So again, filling the gap. And then amongst that, she said there are many people who want to volunteer. That's how it started. Isabella said there are many visitors who want to volunteer and they want to know about things. Okay, great. But who takes care of volunteers? They go and join somewhere, but who talks to them? And what are their challenges?
how are they finding housing? So we don't have those information. So that's how we came up with this session. Why not we talk to them and get to know them, what are, not just telling them, also knowing their challenges in joining Auroville. It's not 68. At one level we may romanticize all the basic things that they had, but on the other side of the contrast right now is for any youngsters to come and join Auroville, which means initially one needs to sustain in a guest house, which is very expensive. The eateries are very expensive, and then the lifestyle is very expensive, the scooters and things like that. So how does one come and live here? So eating into the savings or depending on the parents, or how? And then taken the expenses monthly, if you project it in a rational way, the next 10 years, how will I sustain per month 30,000 or whatever, then it's a very difficult, challenging proposition. So we are here to know that things also from you. How can we, what can help you? It's a two-way learning. Yes. And anyone else? Yes.
We understand there is nothing logical or illogical, just blowing out and then putting it out,
Yes.
not based on any perception of somebody. It is not my perspective also. I'm just kind of, it's coming and throwing out. There is an ecosystem revolving around the whole of Pondicherry.
Right.
And there is tremendous amount of, let's put it this way, money which revolves around it.
Yes.
This place requires a lot of resources too,
Yes.
and you have your own ways of units to kind of which functions, maybe some small nominal things.
Yes.
It doesn't sound well. There are probably thousands of crores revolving outside,
Absolutely.
and there is nothing which comes for the society. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
My assumption could be wrong,
Yeah.
disappointing you.
Yeah. No. You're right.
So if it is right, then I'm not disappointed. Is there something which could be done? I don't know. I mean, it's just coming on. Like, 1,600, 800, 3,000 people are kind of figuring out a way to, for a very good purpose, clearly understanding. But for commercial purposes, there is enormous amount of things flowing around.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to take it?
What is the
Think about
question?
The question is, do you feel good about it? Do you feel nice about it?
That others are
And purposely
cashing,
saying
that others outside in the periphery are making, cashing on the, in the name of Auroville.
And actually, there is so much of requirement and need for good purpose.
Mm.
There is, I mean, how do you feel about it?
I don't have any particular feeling about it. I mean, people are free to, if they're inspired and are doing well, good for them. And also, as we develop and grow, we can become, more organized and capture more, generate more for the city also. It will go like that also. It's probably compatible. I don't see as, since it's happening, unless, I don't know,
Yeah.
that is just, it is happening like
Just
that.
asked you, how do you feel? I may feel different.
I'm happy when people do as they're inspired and generate and create and the good spirit.
I will give a little bit differing opinion personally. Since I came to Auroville, I see that the commercial aspect of Auroville from Kuilapalem has now come till certitude. You might have seen it. Now they call it, they dub it as a street food of Auroville, food street of. Okay, so one thing is very simple question: what can we do about it? Right? We can't do anything about it. One thing is that. The second is, if there are people who want to, like now almost there are many advertisements I see, we are the USP in a way. Right, we are the selling point, and they say Matri Mandir, 2 minutes walk, they sell property, they sell guest houses like that. Again, what can we do about it? Nothing. But that's a bitter pill to swallow, because the individuals, again, there are many in Auroville. Now that's the even bitterest pill to swallow, is that you will find many in Auroville also taking advantage of the collective. Forget about outsiders. So that's when you're like, okay, this is also happening. So you take little bit. That's where there will be a lot of contradictions when you come to Auroville, and you will see those things. There will be many such things that will put you off. You will say that this is not what I came for. This is I went through that also a lot.
You said you can ask tough questions.
No, thank you.
Asking the tough ones. I can ask a lot of good ones which you can feel nice about.
No, this is a very, so this is where we need people who can, see, this is a chicken and egg story. Like many who come here in Auroville because they are struggling with this basic thing. So the good ones, the rational ones, the bright ones who can take Auroville forward, they look at this pettiness and they're like, no, this is not what I thought, they'd leave. And then the ones who can come and make use of it, there is a selfish aspect to it. They think, oh, I can use this to make my own little, there is a selfishness attached to it. They come here and make hay out of this situation. Then there are more people who see, oh, Aurovillian is doing it, and there are more Aurovillians who come. So we are in this situation. However, that does not, I think there is I believe in this. That's why we wanted to start with the film A Dream. I came for that. I was mesmerized by it. Everything else is in a way ephemeral. It's very temporary. That will stay on forever. And this project, the ideal of Auroville, perhaps somewhere Mother also said, maybe it will take 200, 300 years for it to manifest. So it's not, there is no target as such. Yeah, coming to you. There is no target as such. But then there are very practical implications because of this touristy, many who buy land, build guest houses within Auroville also. Sometimes there are some private pockets. They are not from Auroville also. It's not that this abundance is helping the nearby villages. They are from Goa, they are from Bangalore, they are from Bombay. They come and buy cheap land and then organize, set up a manager, and then they leave. It is in that sense, I wish if Government of India, that's where I look at Government of India also as a very kind of a divine help that came our way, that if they can look at this project of Auroville and this 20 square kilometer as a project worthy of, this is one project which looks at the human species design itself. So can we protect it? Can we give it a buffer that it needs? The green belt is supposed to be the buffer, 15 square kilometers. Right now it is not. So if you know, so more people like you, if they come and ask, and if they have the connection, if they can make it happen, this is what I hope. Hopefully in the next, it can reverse any time. Like all this can happen, and one day one government comes and says, no, Sri Aurobindo Mother is important for us and we want to support this project at any cost. And it can be, because it is an act which was passed in 88, because the act says master plan of Auroville, it is embedded there. So there is some sanctity to it which comes from the legal status also. Sorry, long answer. Yes. Yes, brother, you said then, yeah.
My answers, or my question's been answered.
Okay.
I wanted to understand what is the process of decision making in Auroville, and let's say somebody joins Auroville, then does it take a lot of time for him to be involved in the decision making when it comes to different aspects, or if somebody has an idea around things? So what is the process and steps?
We are trying to decide how to decide. We've not decided yet.
That's an apt answer, because how do you even, I mean, even Mother was a little perplexed with some place. She says 3 words, stop talking, act. Just stop talking, because people were deciding to decide and how to decide, and numbers should be, there are plus minus, no? Then if you go by the numbers, the voting system, then there is a tyranny of majority, right? Not necessarily the majority is the right answer. And if you say no, we will go by consensus, we will say everyone should say something to it. Then there is a tyranny of minority. If you all agree, then one person, for the sake of saying no, I don't want to go this way, then what do you do? So then there is these things, but the best way would be, like I think we are figuring out now, that slowly, that for example this, for many of the work in Auroville, actually there is no decision making. It's a power related, ego related aspect. For example, is there a decision making process to clean the cycle path? There is none. Is there a decision making process for segregating waste in eco service? There is none. Is there a decision making process for selecting the menu in solar kitchen? There is none. In a way, that I see as a kind of a bright spot. You come here, you work, and this team, if they are organizing this, something goes wrong, they will learn from it, part of the learning process, then they will improve. So if we sit together and decide what is the right way of holding a discussion with volunteers, how do we decide that? Somebody will say, why are we even talking about it? That's proselytizing. Somebody might say, oh, you are promoting Auroville the wrong way. Oh, you did not tell about this aspect of Auroville. There can be so many critique of this session itself if we go by the decision making process. So if you ask the majority, do you want to go on the so-called holiday 21st February, Mother's birthday, and work? Decision collectively they may say, no, let's relax today. No? I don't know.
Yes. So that's where also when we take responsibility, so when someone comes, like Lakshay, you've had a beautiful clarity about this program and start to take action. And then things start to coalesce around that. Anyone is free also to give a comment. I can say, hey, what if you do this? What about that? And if it's a good idea, you'll consider also. But it kind of goes hand in hand with responsibility and being open to, the highest inspiration. I can say there is a pressure that anyway comes. That is a beautiful process. And then sometimes decision-making processes, they historically function to stall action. So now we're in a moment where we're getting the hang of that. We realize that no words act.
Yeah.
And
No words.
when it's appropriate to discuss, but to just be conscious that the discussions can go on and on and on. So there's just about to find the sweet spot.
Then I ask, you have also asked before, so you might as well ask us.
Just to understand and appreciate what you said and what you said. The decision to do anything is by consensus of many. There is no process. Roughly how many human beings are involved? 10, 15, 20? I don't want to name definitions, nothing. Generally, how many human beings are involved in it?
No, but it depends, sir, on what. Like it would help if you tell what you have in mind. So what you said about consensus, maybe, maybe not. So it depends. Can you give an example of what aspect, what issue?
Infrastructure better.
So infrastructure.
This, only this.
So then that's connected up the pipeline to an office, and all of it is under basically a plan. So there's an organization where in the past we've had kind of ad hoc planning, ad hoc building. Now we can say, at least in the past few years, more powerfully, it's become more clarified that we are not doing consensus and processes around certain things which are set or which are decided by offices like town planning or the architect or the engineer. That wouldn't go to the Aurovillians. Like if I don't have any, that's not my lookout at all. So it wouldn't make sense if I'm trying to add my voice to consensus in that. If it's a design question like the Matramandir garden, they did some ideas for designing the garden. Then people put their ideas. So some areas, then the consensus is there. But some areas, it's the responsibility already delegated of certain offices and individuals.
It ranges also so much. To just give you an example of how we work, some, like I said, from eco service, from waste management, there is no, it is a prerogative of a person who's taking care of it. To another side of the spectrum, for example, if we have to decide how much, or see, we have this maintenance system, I don't know how many of you know, that if there is an aspect of, we want to say, okay, we want to keep much of the economy circulating within. So, we want to have this in-kind system where the money is given to the financial service, which we can only use within Auroville. And you may need some cash to go out and get the things like petrol, stuff like that. So, this is something which we can run a referendum on, in a way, that we can say this is what we have proposed. Is this much percentage of cash good enough for you? You may say 30%, somebody might say no, we want 50% cash. So, this is where we can go to the, and in between lies, for example, town development. If the road has to go through there, there is no, if you ask the person who has been housed there, if there are 20 families, you ask them, of course they will say no, because their lives are built around that place. But the road for the collective, the plan has been created long ago, and it has to go. Now, there is no point running consensus on it, right. So, you stick to the plan, even, and then you can see if the, again depends on the feedback also. If the feedback is, can you give me an alternative before shifting me, of course then collectively we can look at an alternative. But if it is a exercising of a veto power, or using this majority to stall work, like which has happened a lot, then that also has its own shelf life. Then somebody else may come and say, no, that is enough, now we will go into it. So, that there is a lot of pulls and pushes. Then we realize, oh, this way of just one person doing it also is not right. Then somebody may say, okay, let's slowly go to the, we need to, it varies. Because also, like I said, Auroville is not a project, it's a city, it's a, all aspects of life is here, no, from town development, which is a municipality work, water, electricity, that also we manage ourselves, to waste management, things like that, to social aspects of women, education, health, elderly people, all that also we manage. From the cultural aspect of who decides on the festival, what festivals should be run, how festivals should be run, no, all those aspects. So, that's a cultural and art related decision. So, if you look at it from the organizational aspect to land issues, to construction, we have the entire spectrum. That's the beauty of Auroville in that sense.
You mentioned the structure, the organization and the offices that are in place. Are people there decided based on the collective who does what, or is it based on who's competent enough to run that, and for how long do people run this?
It's such an apt question, and this is exactly evolving right now.
We are in the
A lot of push-pull has been there, and in a way it's a very interesting moment, because we're kind of in a hybrid place, and it's very interesting. I don't think you can see this anywhere else, what's going on here. So there have been a lot of power struggle, and somehow in this backdrop, personally I've become very confident in everything, because I really appreciate all the strong Aurovillians. Everyone has very strong understanding and beliefs and everything, and in any given day things are looking like this or looking like that. But one thing I finally caught is that we are all becoming stronger and wider and greater and like more fit to be here in this city. So the aim is what we're going for. The ideal is this like divine hierarchy. But of course, you see, in Auroville we have the Auroville Foundation Act, and we have the Auroville Foundation. So that brings its own flavor. That is a government office, but it's in an Auroville backdrop, and it's still, mother's children. Everyone is here to be a part of Auroville, but that is a different style than maybe what you would find from other Aurovillians. And I lost my train of thought, but that's about it. Yes, I can say hybrid.
So all this also evolved over time. For example, when the master plan happened, then we set up a group called Auroville Town Development Council. And then if we have to say that the house we allow according to the galaxy plan, say 2-floor or whatever, then who sanctions that plan? Because is it the taluk office, which is traditionally, because we are an agricultural land, should we go to that? Because the city in that sense is a superimposed city. No, it's not a natural, like organically grown city that some village became a town, town became a city. It's not like that. And to answer your organization aspect, this is also unique in a way that we have, say, 1,800 residents full time. I think in terms of percentage of conscious, very well educated, very knowledgeable, very wide kind of audience base, this is very highly concentrated, which means everyone has a very strong view. They know their stuff. So it is, that's what she's saying, we are evolving through it. It's fascinating. You will find extraordinary human beings. I may have conflict with them, but I cannot discount where they are coming from and what they are offering to the collective. So that's where right now we are at. So ATDC is a group where it consists of Auroville residents, but before it used to be the election of sorts, but we figured there is a huge shortcoming on that, because over 10-15 years of this election process, what has happened is it has become like a musical chair, same popular people, it has become like a popularity contest. And then because you are placed there, then you are indebted to those people that group that put you there, and then there are invariably favorisms done to that group. So it has created a certain divide also. Now in the last 3-4 years that has stopped, which means that's the right, if we can go towards meritocracy, tell us what you can do to the collective. So if you want to be a economist, you have the nice background, can we put you in the funds management? Now that's where we are slowly going towards. And because it's a fund management, it's a legal thing, you need to sign balance sheets. So there is a standing order which the government of India issues, the GB issues. So it is unique in that sense. You have foreign, for example, she is an executive, which is also a legal body, so she has to sign a balance sheet. So it's very unique. Otherwise, how can somebody living in Auroville, living in India, sign a legal document? You see, so it's not just because she is popular, she cannot be there. So she has to be competent. Now we are seeing if we are, that's where we are going towards this aspect of action, work. Not because somebody is popular or can speak good words, but because they have dedication and they can contribute to the collective.
And on the theme of work, I can speak more about it now. So where I am right now is at a guest house. I've been there for 5 months. And this has been a beautiful experience of just hitting the ground running and stepping into a role and learning by doing, and sometimes it's really hard and there's a lot of pressure. But I'm so happy, and even in such a short amount of time, I feel like precisely because of some of that high pressure, that I've been able to make a lot of inner progress in such a short time. And yes, I'm totally into it. So I'm really valuing even the difficulties. But honestly, in Auroville, there's so much sweetness too. Like I've never had, or I should put it positively, always in proportion to the difficult experiences I've had, always there's this balancing sweetness and charm. That's what keeps me here.
How do you see Auroville when you're contributing? What are the challenges that you're facing, so that we can take something from this session also as a homework, and if we can make it a little better for the next batch of volunteers. Anyone?
Basically, I haven't applied for the newcomer process yet, but I will be. Things that I see problematic already is that housing. Like, where is it?
It's there.
It's there, yeah.
It's like,
housing. It's a classic issue of Auroville in a way.
I imagined, like coming to Auroville, I thought there would be lots of small communities within the whole Auroville community.
Yeah,
And so there would be all these different housing units,
yeah,
like people having a great time, and each has got individual community, and then somehow all the communities interacting with each other.
yeah.
And that's not that.
That's not that.
It's like,
Yeah,
We're still in this kind of bottleneck moment. So there's no good, clear question for you other than it ends up just getting housing becomes a mystic path, like when you're joining Auroville, but you to persist as long as you can. Continue, get your house or find your space. There's one place for you here.
yeah. I mean, if it is any solace, we are trying to. For example, about 2 years ago, I was working with ATDC to create a proposal for taking a. Like we have a lot of assets, and if we thought if we can take a loan of say 100 crore and we build about 1,000 beds, each bed costing say about 10 lakh rupees in a way, and 1,000 bedded housing place can be created, few communities like that. But this is where this last churning of this last 4 or 5 years has been, because where do we even build? Because everything has been pocketed and closed and enclosed. So there's always, yes, everyone will say yes, we need more housing in Auroville. We call in Auroville a term called NIMBY, not in my backyard. No, like, oh yes, that is required, but why don't you do it there? That's a good place. Then we go there. No, we plan something. So one resident came and said, oh, she almost cried, and she said, I have lived, I invested she's been here for a while. She said, I have bought this house because when I opened the window, there is greenery. So she was emotional that there will be new housing. And one person said, oh, now I've given 20 years, I came in my 50, now I'm 70s, now rest of my life you want to put me on a construction site? So you get it? How do you, this is a very emotional, valid point of view. These are the kind of things that we are struggling with, but we are slowly seeing that one thing which we were not able to do very nicely, there are many, there are good things, but there are also shortcomings which we are trying to see, is that Auroville was supposed to be, because we don't have any ownership, we are stewards in that sense, that as per our requirement, we were supposed to be nimble in our housing. Like if I have a family, I get a family house. Tomorrow when my kids fly away, I am single, or then if I am a couple, then I go to a couple's house rather than holding a 3-4 bedroom big house. That didn't happen. So which meant, and then also because of this majority aspect, the ones who are holding, then they became this political force. For example, we could develop about 200-300 bed guest houses in Auroville in the last 10 years, but we failed to create 200-300 bed for volunteers. So this is a travesty. The ones who come and offer themselves, their time, their energy, their knowledge, their expertise, we didn't take care of them, but we went for those with deeper pockets to create guest houses, which we can then we said, oh, this money is adding to the collective, which is a fair point. But what is, again, these are the kind of conversations which are interesting in Auroville.
And lead to our current circumstances where we don't have enough right now. But also there are some projects which are very beautiful and interesting, which are starting. What is it called? New Birth? New Birth. I just saw a presentation on
About
New
300, 400.
Yes,
Better.
on a few. You can learn about some of the new projects.
But it will take time. The gestation period is little longer.
That is a crunch. That is a difficult part.
Another thing is also that in the next, say, this is where there's a lot of churning happening, even the finances wise, that we are seeing if each resident, irrespective of they having a house or not, if we can account for say 5,000 a month towards housing fund, that can go towards taking care of all the housing assets. Right now it's all on the individuals, and this corpus, if one can provide some money, that can go towards building new housing. So that I think it is utterly unfair to ask new ones when they come how much is your bank balance? And I was asked, and I gave whatever I had. But then I also think in the last 10 years that has created a certain entry of a kind of just gentrification of sorts, that once with certain bank balances or those who consider Auroville as a retirement home because they can leave their house and come and invest their money here for their rest of their life. Both of these things are not very ideal for Auroville, because if you are getting rich, then they come, and in fact I know people who have singles who have come here because they have money. They have taken a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses, fancy ones, but they are not hardly contributing to the collective. And if the elderly ones are joining Auroville just because it's better to be here rather than Germany or in France, you rent that house out and come here, again not ideal, but they may come with a lot of money. So we need to go towards, again, these are it's very difficult to tell each individual that you need to, if you have a house, tomorrow you become an Aurovillian, we say you need to put some money to the collective, because we need to support the new ones. That's where we are moving. Let's see. You were asking?
I just wanted to speak from my experience.
Yes, please.
I know 12 housing assets right now that are empty. How, with that knowledge, can I accept that there's a housing crisis?
I agree with you.
I think the so-called housing crisis is just a message that has been sent around.
Yeah.
There's at least 12 that I know of today that are just empty.
To add to
And
that,
so I just one final point. I really think that there's special interests at play within Auroville that are purposely keeping housing assets empty. And I know that to be true in one community.
systemic issues. See, to add to that, I would say there are many houses who, when they have extra rooms, rather than sharing it with others, they have made it into a homestay. Sometimes registered, sometimes not even registered. So I know at least even now, if there can be a decision that can free up 100 beds and I don't think we have 100 volunteers in that sense, and we have a lot of green belt area which can be used also for the. Again, these are the conversations we are having right now. If somebody decides, then immediately it becomes, oh, there is what is the word for authoritarian kind of, oh, we didn't vote for it, we didn't choose it, you are taking our asset away, and then this is the only money that I have, this guest house money is what keeps my life going, and things like that. It's very difficult. What you are saying, I don't know how to solve it, but this is something which to tell you honestly, this is where we are working. We don't even have the data on how many people are coming every month, how many are willing to volunteer but don't find no places to volunteer, and even when they volunteer, how many are receiving support and housing. So we don't have data on these aspects. So this is where we are trying with this attempt to also harvest this kind of feedback, so that we can say then it's my imagination or my estimation that, oh, there is a housing issue. Then somebody else may also say, no, there is no housing. People, when they work, they get the place. Or sometimes it's very odd ones, like, oh, if they are honest enough, then mother will find some way for them. Get it? So this is the kind of thing that we collect the data and we say, okay, here is an issue, can we look into it? I don't know if you have any solution for the 12 houses. When you say it, I can't outright deny it. I'm sure there is.
Yeah. And if I had to guess what it could be true of, I'm not in housing, but I am aware of houses that sit empty for different reasons. The main reason I've seen that houses sit empty is either the Aurovillian is out of Auroville for part of the year, or sometime maybe out for a prolonged period. It's in some in-between situation. And believe it or not, the offices that I've seen are not eager to throw people out of their house.
So it is with YouthLink. Why don't you contact YouthLink? It is under YouthLink.
I'm in contact with YouthLink.
So Gautam,
they pass it back to housing, and then housing passes, it's like no one wants to put their hands on it.
Yeah.
In the situation.
I don't know the situation.
It's just another contradiction.
Yeah, true. One more. One more. And we have, like she said, there are many this migratory birds who spend. It's unfortunate, but it is true that in Auroville there are many assets which are like in Oro Model and many such, in fact, forests also. They come to Auroville during the winters. They come here in November, October. They leave after February, and the house is vacant 7, 8 months, 9 months, and they don't want to give it to somebody. Mainly, then these are bitter truths of Auroville, that if you become an Aurovillian and if you say that I am an Aurovillian now, then you may claim that house. So it's rather empty than. So there are those aspects also. Now we are slowly trying to organize it. We say if you go out, you need to tell us. You need to inform before leaving Auroville how long you are leaving. So if you are leaving, then we ideally then the housing gets to know for 7 months you are not there.
And there's a minimum amount of time or maximum amount of time that Aurovillians can go and live outside of Auroville. Like the intent of joining Auroville is to live primarily in Auroville.
Correct.
So only in the past couple years these regulations have been,
Have been put in place, but
Yeah.
still not enforced, like effectuated, which means that there are people who for 10 years they just come and visit Auroville, and every time they come and renew the contract house sitter, and then they go. This is reality also.
Probably then for some of these situations, with the regulations, perhaps when the individuals have to go, when it comes time to renew their visa, then their situation will be looked at and evaluated. But I don't think the situations are getting, people aren't getting chopped just like that. So there's some tact, maybe some laxity. Would it solve the healing housing situation? Probably not. We also, in a parallel line of action, are
Correct.
building perfectly, imperfectly. But that's it. When we join Auroville, we have to throw everything forward into this. Even when it looks really messy, what's this? Let's go. We need you in housing. We need you in the Yuvabe or in Yuva Sangha. Like when we notice a thing, that may be the area where, we need the ingenuity and energy. Well, that's the stage of development where Auroville is, not ready-made. But the ideals are so solid. Then that we can see where is the gap. But that's it. Now the adventure's on.
Super, any last thoughts? And then we can.
Is the gap widening over time? That both of you have been here. You could answer individually. Is that gap we're talking about, is it widening or is it converging?
What's the gap? The demand and the supply of housing? Oh, the idea.
And where we are. You've been here for 10 years, you've been here for longer. In that time frame, do you think that gap is, or is it shrinking?
I've given up thinking about it. Like I've understood that whatever is my best conception or observation, it's still very limited. And even I try to look at it in a very linear way, and I think it's non-linear stuff. Actually, like for all we know, we may go like, like it can go like this and then take off. But yeah, that's my sense of things. It's not like a steady thing, or is it getting better, or is it getting worse? I mean, of course, everything's getting better. I feel even when the forms are quite challenging or like, worrying or whatever, I can say some part I've become, with more experiences, more confident and start to enjoy also, even the real difficult parts. And yes.
So what I'm hearing is there's a personal growth, the community growth might be, the conscious evolution at a community level might be subjective, but in your personal experience, there's a personal evolution of your consciousness, your activity.
There is individual, there's collective, yes, there's consciousness. What is, in a place like this, that pressure of consciousness is equally upon all of our heads. And it wants to express. It wants to express. So as the more receptive we are, then we can maybe shorten the gap, if there's such thing as that. But anyway, the timing will be perfect. This is slow or fast, we just do our best.
Like Mother said somewhere, it's very interesting. She said, Auroville will be manifested despite you. So I'm paraphrasing here. So she did not put too much importance on us, thankfully. so here is the thing that she drew. So she says the general human evolution is like this stumbling pathway that we are all on, and through yoga you can go. But how much are we coming to the center? How much are we aligned is a very, if I have to extrapolate what Mother said for individuals, that have we made spiritual progress as a collective? I would say, have we, what is your sense as somebody who has come new to Auroville? Do you think we are as a collective bunch very detached?
I'm not the right person.
I would not. To an extent, yes, there are some sparks which I find extraordinary individuals who have come and offered themselves, like, and then there are people who are very ordinary. So in that sense, no, not even. I mean, how would we know? We can just we are just willing guinea pigs.
That is true.
So the question is, are you willing to be a guinea pig for lifetime? Welcome to the trap. But the good thing is that the trap does not have a door. You can come in any time and you can leave any time also. So if we have 1,800 residents, that doesn't mean Auroville since 68 had 1,000. It's not in that sense the right number. We, at some estimation, we have had about 35,000 long-term residents in Auroville who have come, made Auroville their home for certain years and then left. They all have contributed to Auroville. This 800 people who are living in Auroville cannot claim to have contributed entirely. So we are the remaining ones. We are the thick skins.
There's no record of those who were there at that time, those remaining 28,400 people.
Perhaps there is. I'm not sure. There is, because every time since the beginning, Mother, even from 68, Mother was the one who was, applicant would say, I want to become a newcomer. She would see the photo and approve. And then there was some process and then there was conflict. Not sure. Never attempted to know that. But it's an estimation as of now. Perhaps an endeavor for you. Yeah. But I have not seen the details of it.
Given the situation, there are good reasons to look at that 28,000.
Absolutely. So sometimes there are many who come visit Auroville, and then I get to know that they were here. Like recently we met Vishwa. Vishwa. He's staying in the guest house and he wanted to meet us, and we got to know that he was in Auroville from 83 to 92 or so, something like that, 10 years. And then he left, 93, I mean, so long ago. And 10 years is a long time.
It's a huge contribution.
A huge contribution.
How can that be?
And then not just that, then he went back to Germany and he became such a great ambassador. He said he has hosted so many Aurovillians in Germany. He has his house which he has lent for Aurovillians, and many Auroville kids went and stayed there, studied. So there are these innumerable stories, goodwill, love for Auroville, which cannot be quantified. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good stay. Thank you.